Okay, so let me start by just mentioning something that happened recently, like yesterday. So, because it's fresh in my mind and it can be used, everything can actually be used to generate a motivation, all of our experiences. So yesterday was the last day of the Jaipur Literature Festival, right? Which is it's quite an event. So in the last session, they had a debate. 6 very erudite, experienced people were debating, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. And it doesn't matter what the topic was actually so much, but, well, actually, I might as well mention it. As you know, the world likes to divide itself into factions, right? Left, right, black, white, good, bad, this party, that party. And so the motion which was being discussed and which everybody had to then vote on was the left and the right can never be brought together. Okay, the left and the right can never be brought together. So that was the motion. So anyway, there was a lot, as I say, of very intelligent people giving very interesting remarks, including Vandana Shiva and, some politicians, but some very, very good people, very intelligent people who spoke very well, actually. Now, I was just interested, looking at it also from a Buddhist perspective, because left and right, these are arbitrary. We have to define our terms and so on and so forth. So that took a while. And some people never got over the fact that left and right, really, it depends on what you mean by that. So, and some people got caught up, of course, in the political side of it. But one wanted to say to everybody, and I guess this is not really connected with that debate that was going on, but one still wanted to say to everybody, and I didn't get a chance because many people put their hands up at the end. One wanted to say, look, what is it that people want? What does everybody want? Actually, whether you're left, right, Congress, BJP, whatever you are, what does everybody want? What do human beings want? So they want to be happy, right? They don't want to suffer. That seems to be a prime point. Is that? You could turn off your mobiles, that would be good. So that is what we all want, right? Just make sure mine's on silent. Yeah. So you see, that is an equalizing factor. So I actually, because I felt I knew what line the debate would take, I very much supported the motion. Yeah, left and right will never come together because that's the whole nature of the divided mind, is always to divide. If you're thinking in those terms, then you'll always have an incentive to be against the other side. And the way it was brought out was that, of course, traditionally the left has often been supportive of poorer people or peasants and the workers. And the right has been tended to be more in favor of very rich people, the 1% so-called, who own an obscene amount of money compared to others, etc., etc. So that's okay. But when you come down to it, if human beings were to realize actually that we are living together on a small planet with limited resources, and of course, all the speakers, virtually, whether on one side or the other, were talking about united India, having a united India, being Indian. I mean, come on, we're not just Indians, right? I mean, I'm an Indian citizen, but aren't we part of a world, a globe, which we are destroying through our fascination, obsession with growth? Yeah, growth. I mean, it's pitiful. It's as though we don't understand the basics. You cannot have infinite greed and craving on a finite planet with finite resources. It's just stupid. So it was like everybody one felt like saying to everybody, look, just relax and be content with less. But of course, I can't talk because I bought what some people might think an extraordinary number of books yesterday at the bookshop there, because I'm obsessed with books. So I bought a lot of books. Okay. And yeah, it was quite heavy carrying them back to Delhi and on metros and so forth. Anyway, the point is, what do we want? That's what we need to check again and again. And the person I don't like or the person I do like, they're actually the same as me. As Shantideva says in his text, which you'll come to, same as me in wanting happiness, not wanting suffering, also in just being a kind of, in one way, an impersonal mechanism, a body, which has, come about through the combination of sperm and egg, right? I'm the result of that, and so is everybody here and everybody in the world who's, human, are the result of that. So in that sense, we're all equal. So this dividing, this constant dividing and not seeing how we, need to support one another, care for one another properly, this is a real disease of the mind, of the untrained mind. Welcome, welcome. So anyway, so what's our motivation? Why do we bother to come here? We have a class 11 student here who's come all the way from Noida, and we have, somebody who walked here 3 kilometers, 4? Huh?
45 minutes.
45 minutes walk. That's unusual nowadays. People don't usually do that. My father used to walk 5-6 kilometers to school every day, there and back, in Shimla, so up and down. But nowadays we're different, right? We don't walk much. Anyway, my point is we've come here from different places using different vehicles, but we all, why are we here? Why are we here? We have to check. I mean, I don't know, maybe you're bored. Some of you are just so bored that you just couldn't bear staying at home. That's also possible. But if you couldn't bear staying at home, that means you were suffering at home. So you came to Tushita to become a little happier. So you see, we're all searching for a little bit of happiness. So whether it's in food or relationship or coming to Tushita or a combination of all sorts of things, that's what we're looking for. And Shantideva in this great text, which we're going to look at, is saying that actually the real happiness will come when we stop obsessing about me and what I want, me and my happiness alone. He argues very persuasively that that is the cause of all of the suffering in the world, and that all of the happiness in the world, all of it, comes from basically the attitude of wanting, excuse me, wanting to benefit others, wanting to make others happy, okay? So that's something we can reflect on. I'm not going to give formulaic, I'm not going to give you formulas for happiness like maybe some people do. We have to think about these things. We have to chew them ourselves. Buddha said we had to check everything he taught, not accept it just because he was saying it. So if that applies to Lord Buddha and what he says, of course it applies to a dimwit like me. You have to take very carefully, you have to think very carefully about what is being said. It might be nonsense. Or we could say it might not be in tune with reality. So then there's that. And then in terms of motivation, we might see very clearly how in phases of our own life and in what we see of the lives of other people, there is a very sad and perpetual lack of purpose and meaning. Okay, there may be a purpose in the sense that some people may want to make more money or be more successful in certain ways, but in terms of a deeper meaning, which really nourishes not just the ambition or that instinct, but also somehow the depths of one's being, the heart, or whatever you want to call it. How many people you think have jobs or a lifestyle that, makes them really feel happy and that they are fulfilling their potential. Yeah. The Buddha said we have infinite potential, that we have Buddha nature, and that therefore every one of us can become a Buddha. Every one of us can become a Buddha. Buddha is not just a historical figure who happened to pop up by accident or something. Every one of us, because we have a mind, the deepest nature of which is clarity, emptiness, and bliss. All these words are used. Can't describe it, obviously, in words. Just as actually, can you describe the taste of an orange or a banana in words alone so that the other person would get the exact experience? Of course we can't. Not even something as mundane as that. So of course we cannot describe what the Buddha is actually pointing to, but we can get an idea when we begin to slow down and pay attention. And that's very difficult. I was thinking about that today. I was thinking, and this may be relevant for you. Okay, I'm coming back to Delhi. Okay, there's a short Zoom call I have in the afternoon, then I'll rest and take it easy and then be fresh for the afternoon session, evening session at Tushita. But somehow one thing after another happens. And so we are racing through the day, getting more and more thoughts, sometimes more and more tired. And so when are we actually giving ourselves a real chance to slow down, pay attention, and experience a deeper, calmer level of ourselves? Let's put it that way. Again, it's just words. It's not very accurate. But when it's like, okay, if we keep on throwing pebbles into a pond, there will be ripples, right? And if there's a storm, of course, there'll be a lot of ripples and even some waves and so forth. But if all of that stops, right? Imagine it stops. And then there's a very calm, clear surface of that water. Everything is reflected so clearly, so that in some photos you can't tell what is actually the reflection, what is the real mountain or tree or whatever. So that level of calm and stillness and slowing down, that level of kindness, that's what we need for part of the day at least. Otherwise we will go gaga. And in fact, we are all gaga. We are all a bit crazy, very crazy. According to Lord Buddha, we are very crazy, very neurotic, I might say. Of course, you might say, okay, you're speaking for yourself. Yeah, I am, but also from what I see of other people, yeah, a lot of craziness. And of course, speediness, and so forth. Confusion. So we practice, we're here. I would say we should think of our reason for being here as one in which we want to actually find out, taste whether we could make friends with ourselves in the sense of being kind and understanding towards ourselves. And maybe that would make us people who could then relate in a better way with the world. Are you getting what I'm saying? If we are churned up and upset and confused inside, then what kind of connection are we going to have with our world? You may have noticed when you're very calm and clear and feeling very positive and just good about things, then good things are attracted to you. I have never, ever been offered by a young woman at a metro station to show me where the toilet was. But today someone did. I said, that's weird, Or maybe she thought I was a helpless foreigner. That's also possible. I think I spoke to her in English. But Anyway, that's very unusual. And I was feeling a very positive state of mind, actually. I got off the train, had a cup of tea, stretched my legs. I felt really good. And something else had happened, I can't remember. And then this lady, um, sorry, not to where the toilet was, where the entrance to the metro was, where the entrance to Karol Bagh metro was, okay? Because I wanted to take most of the journey back by metro. So then, yeah, if we are at peace, harmony with ourselves, then I think something happens with our relationship with the outside world, with other people. And this is well known to, of course, people who can feel and see energy and so forth, who are more sensitive. Most of us are going around with a very dull, perhaps, or aggressive kind of energy zone around us. But when we're not, I think we can be of much more benefit to ourselves and the world. Anyway, sorry, very long-winded sort of introduction. The point Lord Buddha is making is that we can all become perpetual, fully awakened people, perpetually, what should we say, in harmony with ourselves and the world, and totally and spontaneously working for others without thinking, oh, I'm working for others, you know, how good I am. Nothing, just spontaneously. It's like the sun shines. That all of us are capable of, but we're not going to understand, actualize that until we begin to work with some of the disturbing elements that we do have in our minds, primarily in our minds. And then they manifest in the body, one way or another. Okay, so the way to begin is to begin to slow down and pay attention. So we're going to do that. We're going to sit upright properly and have the head tilted slightly forwards, downwards. The head up in the air will just lead to stress in your neck. So the head is tilted slightly downwards. As you can probably see in the Buddha statue. Yeah, the Shakyamuni statue is a very good example. The one to my right, your left, slightly inclined down, not up in the air. Give a sort of sense of ease and a sense of not being all over the place. I'm just going to mute all of you because sometimes there are background sounds. There'll be a chance to discuss later. Okay. So again, have a sense of naturally just being where you need to be, and there's nothing to be done. Nothing to be done. You're not here on parade. You're not here to prove anything to anybody. We're just here to feel and be in our bodies, first of all, on the cushion or chair. Can you feel the contact of your body with the chair or cushion? Actually, sometimes we can't because we are up in our thoughts. So please bring your attention to the contact of your body with the cushion or chair, sofa, the actual physical sensation of it. And the sensation of your hands on your knees or thighs or in your lap. Actually bring your attention to that place where your hands are in contact with your body. I hope we're all doing that. If your mind wanders, bring it back to the sensation. Then, how does your back feel when you attempt to sit relatively upright? How does your back feel? Then stress or strain there? Can you just have the shoulders level without being pulled back or hunched forwards? And front of the body, how does that feel? Abdomen and going upwards towards the sternum, then the heart area, the center of the chest. How does that area feel? It should be naturally a little bit open because the back is upright. Eyes can be gently closed or a little open to let in some light. If they are open, they'd be looking at a spot about 5 or 6 feet in front of you on the floor because your head is tilted slightly downwards. Relax the muscles in the face. Very easy to generate tension around the mouth, around the eyes. Lips and teeth gently together or very slightly apart, not clenched. And then bring your attention, if you haven't already, to the breathing. You are breathing as you sit. We've been breathing since we were born. What does the breath feel like at the tip of the nostrils as you breathe in and out naturally? Can you feel the sensation there? If you can, just pay gentle attention to that. If you find that's difficult, especially as a beginner, then be aware of the rising and falling of your abdomen as you breathe in and out. If it feels strange to be silent and just observing the breath, that's fine. Let it be strange. Good to be strange sometimes. But don't let the mind get caught up too much in the thinking process. If it is, recognize, let go of the thoughts and gently bring your mind back to the breath. bring the attention back to the breath. As you would if you were training a young child or a puppy dog. Again and again, one might need to do it. That's fine. Gently, without pressure, without tension. You start thinking about something, let it go. First, you have to notice, of course, that you have been thinking. So you just notice gently, come back to the breath. Relax, come back to the breath. Relaxation is important. We can't do this if we're stressed and uptight. And we're not doing anything, of course. We cannot engage in the so-called practice of meditation if we are stressed and feeling very tense and uptight. So just relax. Stillness in the body. Attentiveness. But a sense of ease, as though you were sitting in your favorite armchair at the end of a long day's work, but you're very awake. You're not sleepy, but you're very relaxed and content. And each time we breathe out, there can be a sense of letting go, of relaxing. When we breathe a sigh of relief, we breathe out, we don't breathe in. So like that, just let go, dissolve with the out breath. If you need to stretch or stand up for a moment, please do that now. You need something under your feet, Mira, to keep you warming up. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry?
Some tea.
No, thank you. Okay, we'll start in a moment. Okay, so we've been looking at the very fascinating and deep chapter where Shantideva is actually trying to, he's getting us to reflect and meditate on how we could actually transform this terrible attitude of cherishing ourselves and transforming it into one that actually cherishes others, cares for others. And we're on chapter 8, verse 174. Okay. Now there's a few translations here and they bring out different, some are clearer than others, I feel. So if I look at the Bachelor, Stephen Bachelor, which most of you have, to whatever degree I take great care of this body, to that degree I shall fall into a state of extreme helplessness. And in Prema Children's, it says, to the extent that this human form is cosseted and saved from hurt, just so, to that degree, it grows so sensitive and peevish. Anyway, cosseted is what you do to a baby when it's misbehaving or upset, and you cosset it and kind of, yeah, you have it and you're kind of moving it around in a way to make it feel okay, you know. But I don't know why she's got sensitive and peevish in that. It's what children are, I guess. A young child would get sensitive and peevish. Anyway, Bachelor says, to the extent that I only take care of my own body, to that extent, in the future, I'll have to fall into a state of extreme helplessness. All of this is based on the fact that, we are craving, we are grasping, and we're most of the time grasping at ourselves, at our own bodies, and what's good for me, etc., etc. And so if that's all I'm going to do, then in the future, I shall be helpless as an animal, as a hungry, wandering spirit, or as a hell being, experiencing hellish mental and physical suffering. Having fallen in this way, into this helplessness, he says, if my desires are unable to be fulfilled, even by everything upon this earth, what else will be able to satisfy them? Here, I think the other translation is a bit clearer. What Shantideva is trying to say is this, that so for those who fall into such a state, right, of helplessness, the earth itself and all it holds are powerless to satisfy. Nothing will then satisfy that kind of person. Nothing can satisfy that kind of person. For who can give them all that they crave? Craving is such that it is not remedied by just grabbing what you want, what you're craving. Usually, if you check your own life, your own mind, whether it's thoughts or things or whatever that you're craving, it doesn't go away just by indulging in it, by craving. Does it? This you have to check. Nothing so far has satisfied us, it seems. That's another way to look at it. If the Buddhists are correct, and even if they're not correct about past lives, okay, I think they are, but even if they're not, just take this life. How many things have we wanted and craved and got and so on and so forth, and still, at 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years, one is not satisfied. So what's going on, Nothing is satisfying us enough. Some things are satisfying us a little bit or making us happy a little bit, but nothing has satisfied us in it, So craving, taking care of this body, craving for it, it's never ending. It's not going to end until we do something about it. So being unable to fulfill them, these desires spoken of in verse 175, being unable to fulfill them, but desiring to do so, disturbing conceptions and dissatisfied mind will ensue. However, if I do not depend on any material things, then the exhaustion of my good fortune will be unknown. Then there'll always be good fortune. There'll never be an end to my good fortune if I can learn to let go of just material things. So this sounds like bad news for us, right? No more trips to the supermarket just to buy a few extra things that we don't really need. What was it? Where did that time we went, I and some friends, one of whom is here, we went to Decathlon, right? And then, unknown to them, because I felt very ashamed, the next day, not ashamed, but next day I went there and I bought 5 or 6 things, because it was so enticing seeing this sports shop. I never knew anything like that existed in India. In fact, then somebody later, I don't know who, sent me this jacket I'm wearing, which is also from Decathlon, I think. Anyway, it's like material things, they're there, whether they're sweets or their clothes or the tennis ball. I bought a tennis ball, I bought a football. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying I was bad to do it. It's not about being bad and deserving punishment. But the point is, the mind is wanting all the time, wanting something material. We're not satisfied with the bliss or the calm of watching the breath, meditation, calm, clear. I mean, we would be if we were to engage in it properly, but we just don't bother. So anyway, So the material things, if I don't depend on these material things, and in other words, it implies that I'm then depending on something else. And in Buddhism, we're not depending on God. So we're depending on our own minds, the calm of our own minds, the peace of our own minds. You know? Okay, you might say we do depend, looks like we're depending on Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we're praying to them, we have their pictures all over the place. So doesn't that mean we're depending on them? Yeah, it does actually. Initially, we are depending on material things. It's true, actually. I mean, this thing behind me is a material thing, right? It's a statue of Buddha, so we're supposed to respect it as the actual Buddha, but it is a material thing. It's a statue. And there's pictures on the walls and tankas, and they're all made of material matter. However, and let's not get into what matter really is, you know. I mean, that's a difficult one. Matter is mainly space, anyway, according to modern science. Okay, but anyway, if I don't depend on material things like the way I am right now, then I'll have never-ending happiness. This is what Shantideva is saying. What's the other translation? That looks quite good. Their hopeless craving brings them misery. Evil policies invade their minds. Evil policies. That's her translation of disturbing conceptions and a dissatisfied mind will ensue. Evil policies invade their minds. Sounds like some terrible politician. While those with free, untrammeled hearts will never know an end of excellence. Free, untrammeled hearts. That's a bit different from not depending on any material things, but it's very similar. Obviously, she's found a very poetic translator here. Free, untrammeled hearts. And then her comment is clear, is a good commentary, simple, but very clear to the point. She says, Pema Chodron that is, whose commentary I have here also, Shantideva makes the point that desires are endless. To think that comfort and security could come from satisfying them is as comical as trying to put out a fire by adding more wood. Yeah, you know, it's like we want to put a fire out, keep on putting ghee or more wood and stuff. You know? Therefore, for the increase of my body's wants, I will give no space, no opportunity. And of possessions, those things are the best that do not captivate by their attractiveness. These are not the kind of things they would post on shadi.com, right? These kind of verses, because they are absolutely against all kind of reliance on external beauty, etc., 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 right? Therefore, this is Bachelor's translation. Therefore, I shall never create an opportunity for the desires of the body to increase. For whatever I do not grasp as attractive, these are the best of all possessions. Okay, anyway. And in any case, then he reminds us again in verse 178, what the Buddhists are reminding us again and again and again, all the time. In the end, my body will turn to dust. Unable to move by itself, it will be propelled by other forces. So why do I grasp this unbearable and unclean form as I? No, we might ask ourselves that question. Why do I grasp this unbearable and unclean form as I? Whether it lives, whether it dies, what use is this machine to me? How is it different from a clod of earth? Oh, why do I not dispel this pride of it being I and mine? That's pretty good, I think. That translation is pretty good. Alive or dead, what difference does it make? What good to me is this machinery? What difference will divide it from a clod of earth? Oh, why not rid myself of this conceit of self? Pema Chodron says, Our body can, of course, be very useful. That's kind of an understatement, but yeah, it can be very useful, but not if we're obsessed with it. Oh, okay. Hopefully this now familiar message is sinking in. Okay, so this chapter 8, verse 179, by now it's kind of sinking in what Shantideva was trying to say. Okay, and that's after all the other Buddhist things we've heard, for half a lifetime. Okay, our body can, of course, be very useful. We speak of the precious human life. Without it, we cannot achieve Buddhahood, but not if we're obsessed with it in the wrong way, obviously. Yeah. If we use it to benefit others, to study, reflect, and meditate, and all of these things, then it is like a wish-fulfilling gem. Yeah. But if we're just obsessed with the material side of it, then it's a problem. Through lavishing attention on this body, such sorrow have I brought myself so senselessly. What use is all my wanting, all my hating? For what indeed is like a log of wood? Wow. Having accumulated suffering for no purpose because of my honoring and serving this body, what use is attachment and anger for this thing that is similar to a piece of wood? Whether I'm caring for my body in this way, or whether it is being eaten by vultures, it has no attachment or hatred towards these things. Why then am I so attached to it? He's saying the body itself doesn't feel pleasure nor aversion. I think he's meaning it's the mind that feels it. Do you think that's what he means in verse 181? Whether I protect and pamper it, or whether it's torn by beaks of carrion birds, this body feels no pleasure, no aversion. Why then do I cherish it so much? Resentment when it is reviled. Okay. If my body knows no anger when derided and no pleasure when praised, for what reason am I wearing myself out like this? The body itself doesn't know anger, or it's the mental aspect which feels anger, feels attachment, so on and so forth, right? Because of the appreciation, you'll say. That's why I exhaust myself, because of the appreciation that others, all my friends, will have of it. They all appreciate the bodies that they have, so why do I not like them as my own? Everyone appreciates their own bodies, so why don't I appreciate them? That's what he's saying. That's the logic. Why don't I appreciate them as I do my own? Because everyone is appreciating their bodies themselves. He's just using a lot of reasonings to say, why am I so obsessed with this particular set of body and mind? And he's giving all of the other aspects of this body and mind, the fact that it doesn't, the body itself doesn't feel anger or attachment, but it's all due to the mind. And the fact it's going to turn to dust and so on and so forth. He's using all these reasonings to try, I think, to force us into, it's like being punched. It's like having a very powerful opponent as a boxer, and they keep on punching us. So by the end of the round, we're kind of exhausted, and we say, okay, yeah, you're right, you win, you're right. When people say, this is Prema Chodron giving her commentary. When people say, you're looking so good, so radiant, or you seem to have more wrinkles since I last saw you, we're drawn into joy or depression. Is that right? Is he being sexist, gender biased? Is it she, rather? Men and women, I think we both have this. It's not just, it's both men and women, absolutely. We're drawn into joy or depression. Our fictitious self gets very worked up over a bit of praise or blame. This is true. All it takes, a little bit of praise or a little blame. Wow, we can feel so inflated or so deflated. Our fictitious self gets very worked up over a bit of praise or blame. So why do I exhaust myself? Shantideva asks in verse 182. Why do this to ourselves, our fleeting momentary selves? In verse 183, we have another familiar dialogue. We claim that we protect and pamper our body to bring delight to others. But if that's the case, why not protect and pamper their bodies? This would surely delight others as well. So why do I not like them as their own? Yeah, in other words, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. If you take care of yourself and you like it, then do that for others. Okay, then this is what he really wants to say, I think, coming next. Verse 184, therefore, free from all attachment, I will give this body for the benefit of beings. Thus, though many blemishes afflict it, I shall take it as my necessary tool. This is all we have. We have this body. And he's saying, use it for others. Therefore, in order to benefit all beings, I'll give this body up without any attachment. Although it may have many faults, I should look after it while experiencing the results of my previous actions. What's that? That's quite different. I should look after it. Yeah, I should look after it. Realizing that I do have to experience the karma, previous karma, and that will be visited on my body, on my mind. That's okay. One accepts that. But the basic thing is, I shall give up this body without any attachment in order to benefit others. This is the whole thrust of this chapter, isn't it? That's where we're trying to get to be an unpaid slave of the world. Yeah. To benefit others. Yeah. So that's what he's saying here. So, and then the last 3 verses of this chapter. And then actually we won't be doing the wisdom chapter properly. We'll just be skirting through bits of it possibly. We'll see. I haven't decided yet, but I'm not qualified to teach the next chapter properly because I haven't studied this matter for an unbelievable number of years properly. Anyway, verse 185, so enough of this childish behavior. I shall follow in the steps of the wise. Having recalled the advice concerning conscientiousness, I shall turn away sleep and mental dullness. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Thank you. It's different from the morning session, but I hope useful. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I shall turn away sleep and mental dullness. Here, Shantideva vows to take this body as his working basis, necessary tool. When we do likewise and enthusiastically follow in the footsteps of the wise, it will serve us well and carry us to unsurpassable enlightenment. Just like the compassionate children of the conqueror, in other words, Bodhisattva, I shall patiently accept what I have to do. For if I don't make a constant effort day and night, when will my misery ever come to an end? Yeah, we just do what we have to do. We've used this example many times. If you want to be an Olympic champion, I mean, look at how those people train. Look how many hours. Straining, pushing their bodies to the limit, exhausting themselves day after day to, get that extra split second or, height in their high jump or whatever it is. Constant effort day and night. If I don't do this, when will my misery ever come to an end? The misery of wanting, the misery of craving, the misery of confusion, all of that. And of course, the misery of actual realms, animal, especially animal, and hungry ghost and so forth. But actually, if we keep our eyes and senses open and just look at the human beings, that's if you're not just going around in some kind of air-conditioned car all day, but if you're actually walking around looking at people, it's pretty mind-blowing, actually. Pretty mind-blowing. Looking at many kinds, people, what they seem to be going through, just the way they live, I was leaving the hotel at 5:30 in the morning to catch my train back to Delhi, and of course, it's not something I haven't seen before, but it's like I was in a comfortable bed, and you come out, and it's not warm by any means at that time in the morning, and just someone on the pavement with one blanket over them, So one has to just be careful not to step on them. So there's people who, I don't know, not only do they not have the physical material comforts at all, but they don't seem to have much, kind of a support in life, They don't have any proper refuge, whether people or path. Yeah. So as budding bodhisattvas, we have to do what we have to do. We have to work for these sad sentient beings, right? For sentient beings, somehow. Often we don't know how, really, but we just have to work on ourselves, I guess, first. Or not first, but I mean, do that as well as all the other actions we need to be doing. Otherwise, we will just also join the ranks of the confused and the downhearted and the callous and the cynical, and just have life after life of misery. And there's a nice thing here, because I've also read something of what she's talking about here. She's talking about her teacher. Pema Chodron is talking about her teacher, her main teacher, who was Trungpa Rinpoche, a very unusual, great teacher who helped a lot take Tibetan Buddhism to the West, especially to the United States. So Trungpa Rinpoche, she said, often use the word burden in a positive sense. When we speak of a burden, we feel unhappy about it, famous, there's a song by the Rolling Stones called Beast of Burden. Those of you who like rock and roll should listen to it. Anyway, he uses the word burden in a positive sense. The great burden he felt to sentient beings was one that he carried joyfully. He speaks of how he felt he had this tremendous responsibility to help people in America at the end of the 60s, early 70s. He just felt he felt there was an openness among American people, and that they would benefit from the Dharma, and that it wasn't going to be easy, but he was going to do what he could. He would give it all he had. And he was determined to do that. And so he left England, where he had been, and went to the United States to labor day and night. Yeah, constant effort day and night. To labor day and night doesn't mean striving and struggling. It means persevering with the eagerness of an elephant diving into cool water, or with the delight of a swan descending on a lotus lake. Ultimately, it means getting our priorities straight so that everything is done with the intention of awakening the heart of Bodhi, enlightenment. Then the last verse of chapter 8. Therefore, in order to dispel the obscurations, I shall withdraw my mind from mistaken ways and constantly place it in equipoise upon the perfect object. That is a reference to the practice of equipoise or shamatha, which is a large subject in itself. But that is what is necessary in order to then be able to meditate properly on wisdom, which is the next chapter. So right now, as you may have noticed, when you try to sit and watch your breath, the mind goes off into so many directions. So we have to learn we have to bring that unruly mind under some kind of control, and so that it can rest on the object and stay on the object, right? Otherwise, it's laughable. And yeah, sometimes one doesn't know whether to laugh or cry at what one's mind is doing. Have you had that experience, trying to meditate? The mind is, it's all over the place. Mira, have you ever had that experience? Yeah. Sonali? Yeah.
My mind is all over the place, even when I'm not meditating.
Your mind is all over the place, even when you're not meditating. Yes.
Even when I'm listening to you.
Your mind is all over the place? What to do, we need some more entertaining background. Maybe we need lights, garlands, something like they have on some of the TV channels, Dharma TV channels, some kind of music also. Yeah, we haven't had music here for a long time since, what was his name? Who used to play music always before sessions? Dipesh ji would always put on some mantra or something. It would, people could chill out before the session. Anyway, if we don't create the causes for single-pointed concentration, then also we can't get anywhere. If we're the best chef in the world and we know all the recipes and we're eager to go, but then they give us a set of blunt knives in the kitchen, then we can't do anything. We're pretty helpless then. That's just one way to look at it. So we need the equipment to be able to meditate properly. We need a calm, clear, focused mind. Okay, discussion time. I talked far more than I should have, as usual. And mute. Allow. Okay. Venerable Kundral, still looking very good, very awake. Have you had your morning coffee? Do you take coffee in the morning?
Not yet.
Wow, hero, man. He's in Montana, USA. It's morning there. What's the time you're in?
It's 7:10 a.m.
Good on you. Okay, so what do we want to talk about? Well, we want to talk about what we've just been talking about. That's what I mean. But any comments? New student, anything you would like to ask? Not clear? Is everything clear? Not clear. But you don't want to ask. Okay. But you're happy.
Yeah.
Okay. What was not clear? It's a bit strange coming straight into a text. Yeah. Chapter 8 of an amazing text. And I don't know, have you done your homework for the day? Okay. Poor fellow, class 11 student. How many hours homework do they give you? Huh? 1 or 2 hours. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, anything. People online. Naveenji, Nivitaji, Anushriji, Vikramji, Ajitji, Isabel. I won't call you G because it's a very Indian thing, G. And Venerable Kundral. Anything? Feel free, or anybody here. 184.
last line.
Last line of verse 184, folks.
I should look after it while experiencing the results of my action.
Well, I think that's brought out a bit. Let's see what the Padmakara translation says. That may be a little clearer.
It sounds like you're talking about not taking care of yourself, then add the caveat of taking after it while experiencing the results.
Therefore, free from all attachment, I will give this body for the benefit of beings. And though it is afflicted by so many faults, like the results of karma and all, I shall adopt it as my necessary tool. Clear, no? Actually, it has problems, my body, this and that, but
They're accepting it.
Yeah, I have to use it for the benefit of others. So to the extent that we use anything, a tool, whether it's a car or a hammer or anything, we have to keep it in good shape. Otherwise, it can't do its job. So to the extent that my duty is one of benefiting others, I have to keep my body healthy. Yeah, and
I was confused with that.
yeah, some of the translation isn't that clear. I mean, we have so many practices in Mahayana Buddhism, long life practices, long life sadhana and all. Why? If we're being told not to take care of, not to be attached to our bodies, long life sadhana, why? Well, because we can use a long life to benefit others. And of course, to create positive energy and purify our karma to go to the hell realms, all of that. We can't do it in a very, very short life. We sometimes need a very long life to do what needs to be done. So, we keep on offering long life pujas and all to our teachers and to His Holiness Dalai Lama and all, because we realize such beings we need them to have a long life. They don't need a long life, but we need them to have a long life so they can continue to benefit us. Yeah. So yeah, it's really extraordinary. I mean, one has to read the commentaries actually and meditate on this. It's not clear. I don't feel we've looked at it well enough, this chapter, to be really clear about what's being said. For the simple reason that it needs just a lot more time and meditation on it. And it's also a lot of verses. 180 what? 187 or something. So that's not something one can just quickly understand, or we might understand the words, but to actually feel that, to feel that really one is in a state of equality with others, that others are not just the same as me, but that actually they are, in an important sense, more important than me, more important than just me. And yet not to go overboard and stop taking care of myself because of that, but to take very good care of oneself because others need us. Other people need us. The only reason I think we might feel that other people don't need us is because we're just not paying attention. We're not paying attention to other people enough. We're just only paying attention to me. When we go around, it's not just when we're going around looking at our smartphones as we're walking, but it's about, we're just caught up in our own agenda, our own thoughts, our own this, our own that. We don't notice. We don't notice people, we don't know, and then often we don't notice the beauty also, the beauty of things. Trees, skies, and all sorts of things. The quality of the light in the morning and evening, we don't notice these things. We're so caught up in some internal gossip. That seems a bit sad. We're missing out. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but when you look at people, so sometimes one looks at people in the metro, of course one can feel sad or feel annoyed if everyone's in a whole row seems to be just immersed in their smartphones. But sometimes you can look at people and you feel there's a great, there's a great nobility there. There's something very moving and noble about people's faces if one looks at them properly. And not just, oh, do I like the face or do I not like the face? Are they, in my eyes, beautiful, not beautiful, handsome, not handsome? Not that. Not just that. There's a certain something about, human beings and also about animals. I've had a wonderful relationship with animals this last 10 days. I made friends with so many dogs all over the place. Seem to be having a karmic phase of being very friendly with dogs, which is nice. And not one has bitten me. One growled at me. It's like saying, piss off, I don't want to be your friend right now. But most of them are quite friendly, very friendly. And many of them are craving affection, of course. Some of them they realize you might be open to being nice and they start furiously wagging their tail and walk towards you. So that's nice. So we should, the other thing we can remember is this amazing verse that was there in chapter 5, which I often mention. Chapter 5, verse 100, has this very nice verse where he's saying, and that chapter was the chapter on guarding alertness, which started with that very powerful verse that, those who wish to guard their practice should attentively guard their minds. And if you don't guard your mind, you won't be able to guard your practice and so forth. So the verse number 100 in that chapter says, there is no such thing as something that is not learned by a bodhisattva. Thus, if I'm skilled in living in this way, nothing will be non-meritorious. Matlab, we can use everything on the bodhisattva path, everything. Of course, if we do have a lot of skills, that's amazing. We should be willing to learn something if it's really necessary. I mean, I really feel, some people who know 6, 7, 8 or more languages, I think that's amazing. Imagine really knowing that those many languages, being able to communicate and therefore help more and more people in their own language. That's amazing. So something like that, we should be prepared to no such thing as something that is not learned by a bodhisattva. I really like that. What else, folks? Unrelated. Is it related to football or
No, like
something?
what Datun? Like what is Datun?
Datun is
No, the
toothpaste.
retreat.
Huh?
The retreat.
Oh, I don't know enough about Datun. You'll have to ask. Ajir ji, are you there? Ajir ji, I know you're there. Hiding
Yeah.
Sonali ji is asking, what is Datun? Not Datun, Dathun or whatever, however the Zen people pronounce it. What is a Dathun? I know you've been on one or two.
I think Sonali would be knowing definitely, because this is the meditation practice designed by Trungpa Rinpoche. And normally it is for 1 month and it is during the rainy season. Yeah.
1 month, and what's special about it? What is done in that retreat?
It's a really, I should say, the combination of the many techniques, the sitting, breathing, walking. Yeah, to me, it really appears that he has assimilated the different techniques.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's a whole day from morning till evening.
Right, and it comes from a Zen. It's a Japanese word, no? Dathun.
I think so. I think.
Yeah.
And
I-
one of the special feature of this is that there are the designated teachers, and there is a one-to-one meet. It is designed like that.
meaning what?
So after 2 or 3 days, the people who are participating, they would be meeting their respective mentors,
Acha.
and they will really discuss. Yeah. So one-to-one also is there. I think that is the.
And it's quite hard, I guess.
I won't say that it's very hard, because it is not just sitting.
Mm-hmm.
There is the movement also,
Mm-hmm.
like the walking meditation. So I
Mhm.
think it's not like typical Goenkaji's Vipassana,
Okay.
where you are just sitting and sitting and sitting and breathing. Yeah.
But people keep silence, do they?
Yeah. People keep silence.
No discussion period.
No, there's no discussion. Only
And-
discussion is with the teacher, designated teacher.
And there's no talk. There's no Dharma talk.
And no, there's the Dharma talk also. There's the Dharma talk normally in the evenings and during daytime. Yeah.
Sounds good.
But I would say that almost about 70 to 70%, 75% is really the meditation part, and Dharma part would be less.
And it's kind of shamatha and vipassana.
Yeah, you can say that.
Hmm.
And he puts a lot of emphasis on the breathing, particularly on the exhalation.
Hmm.
And when I was discussing with some of the previous teachers, they said that this is really helpful for the Westerners. It's like opening the heart,
Hmm.
and feel the space in the heart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Ajitji.
Any more question from Sonali? I think she has been there in Deer Park. Everyone is talking about that.
Everybody's talking. What was there scandal?
No. About the Datun would take place, because we had quite a few
Okay.
meetings. Yeah.
Okay.
The Tashi Coleman is one of the person. In fact, it's very, very strange that how the Datun started. Tashi and myself, we were just having a conversation over breakfast, and he said that this Datun. So I said that why we should not really start in Deer Park. I think we want to have some longer programs. Otherwise, our programs are like 1 week, 10 days. So he said that yes, why not? Why should we not really start that? That is how it got unfolded. Of course, during the COVID, it could not take place. Quite a few teachers, particularly in the first and the second, they all came from US. They were the direct students of Trungpa Rinpoche.
Great.
And June, who is the mother of Trungpa Rinpoche's Khandro, mother, has been a very strong follower, and she has been practicing this for the last 40 years. She is the main person who is really coming this time also.
Great.
Which is going to start from 18 July to 18th August. Those who are interested, they can join.
Very good. So there you are, folks. Anything else? Any question from you want to ask? Is it clear for you? Good. Anandaji, you're okay? Namita?
I had a question.
Go on.
Ask it later.
Later. Okay. You mean after the session? Namita ji? All good. There's a Bodhisattva called that, you know. Always good. Samantabhadra. Very important Bodhisattva. Always good. Samantabhadra. No problem. No worries, Bodhisattva. Always good. Clouds of offerings, exactly. Well done, Bob. I thought you were immersed in your mobile, but you're actually with us. Ah,
And luckily, by chance, or whatever, or karma,
Kudrat
there were
hoga.
clouds above, in the background, there were clouds above the water. And the camera, the mobile camera, captured those clouds.
Acha.
So the clouds are also there, and also sunlight.
Good.
Wondering,
Sounds like Samantabhadra's blessings.
yeah, blessings are protection. you can
Protection.
say. Protecting the hostel building. It's called India House. So only seniors use. So now,
Thanks, Bob.
all of the high fees and all, people are divided.
Hmm.
The property also got divided.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
litigation and all.
Your shirt is very similar to mine, Ajitji.
Is it?
Yeah. You see?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But mine is redder. Or kya, folks? Anything? Anushri, Nivita, Isabel, silent majority, Venerable Kundrol, anything?
So if I understood first, Shantideva say why we cherish, why we are attached to our body. Then he say we should cherish the other as much as our body, cherish our body, right?
Yes.
And then he said we should take care of our body to cherish also the other.
Yes. Yeah. So that we don't go to an extreme, any extreme. Yeah. We don't obsess with our body, but we use it well. If we're going to use it for others, we have to take care of it. No use having a broken body or useless body. You have to take care. So I guess, yeah, but that's not easy, is it? We could even have a very old bicycle and we're so obsessed with it. We take care of it and so forth, but we're obsessed with it. But maybe with an old bicycle, it's not so easy to be obsessed. You could be obsessed with a brand new, flashy bicycle or motorbike or something. But somehow with an old one, you just take care of it and, you know, to be able to use it and you're not obsessed by it. Not good example, but it just came to mind. It's one of my favorite movies, Bicycle Thief, by the Italian director. It's a 50s movie, I think. Vittoria De Sica, extraordinary movie, extraordinarily moving story. Of a father.
What's the title?
Bicycle Thief. I don't know the Italian title, but in English, Bicycle Thief. Vittoria Sica, De Sica or Sica, S-I-C-A. Oh, it's so you cry if you see that movie. Okay, folks, I think we've run out of time and we have plenty of food for thought. So time for dedication, which is very important. The three excellences, you remember, excellence of motivation, then the actual practice, which should be carried out with a sense of, dignity and awareness of compassion and wisdom. So hopefully some of that was also sprinkled in there. And then the third excellence is the excellence of the dedication at the end, so that the energy doesn't just dissipate into thin air. We direct it towards a noble purpose. So what could be more noble than wishing that we become very, very beneficial for others, that the teachings remain for a long time, that our teachers have long and healthy lives, and that all their Dharma wishes are fulfilled. And also we should dedicate that however many, shortcomings we may have right now, we do not give up, but we do what we can to be of benefit for others. This is very important. Otherwise, we can keep on delaying benefiting others, thinking that I'm not qualified yet. But actually, one can already do quite a lot for others. If you feel you can't do for humans, okay, you can do for animals, for ants, for squirrels, for dogs. You can do that. Then remember people who need your help and pray for their well-being and their safety or whatever they need for their happiness and protection. Bob is reminding us, as he often does, people dying in his vicinity. So yeah, whoever you can remember who has died, you please dedicate for them. Okay, so next session will be Thursday, and we might have it slightly earlier on Thursday. I have to go to Bodh Gaya on Thursday on an evening train. No, actually a night train. So, but we might start at 6. So be prepared for a 6 o'clock start on Thursday. We might be able to keep it at 6:30. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so thank you all very, very much. Those who are here at Tushita and those who are there online. Take care and see some of you again and on Thursday. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.